again. Welcome back to part 2 of Snow White and the 6 sovereign citizens. We left it off with the Queen trying to get Snow White back to Storybook Land, and the little men have all joined round about her. Wait a minute, the Queen said. I've been up here many times and seen these little weirdos. I even marched in their parades, but something about them looks very different now. They seem much more threatening, more proactive, more masculine. Indeed, she was right. The 7 little men had left aside all their coy mannerisms, dramatic motions, and catchy remarks. Instead of being so well groomed and perfumed, they were now scruffy with forgotten beards and cheap haircuts. They stood around Snow White stiffly, with enough room amongst themselves that no one got any funny ideas. "Glad you noticed," one of the men said as he hiked up the belt of his saggy jeans. "We had an intervention," said Snow White. "It took many hours, but we finally managed to pray the gay away." "You're joking," said the Queen, flabbergasted. One of the little men said, "Nope, we're all pretty regular fellers now." "The only reason we live together is the housing crisis," said another, "brought on by your retro-Stalinesque policies." "And we turned the hot tub into a barbecue pit," said the third. A fourth little man said, "And I must say, that pork tenderloin last night was absolutely delicioso. What kind of balsamic was in the marinade again? Scrummy, scrummy, nom, nom, nom." Everyone around shushed him up and pushed him to the back of the crowd. The Queen thought for a moment. She couldn't lose in her mission to ruin people's lives. There had to be some way to get the people to abandon their principles and succumb to her evil influence. If bribery and threats hadn't worked, what else was there? Of course, moral corruption. She put down her briefcase and approached the 7 little men. "Well, if that's what you've done, it's not a moment too soon. I've always thought it was a waste for all these slabs of mini beefsteak to waste all their juices on themselves." The little men gave each other admiring glances, proud of being called beefsteak for once in their lives. The Queen unbuttoned her suit jacket and took it off. With her hands on her hips, she said in an off-handed manner, "Anything that increases the available population of studs around here is fine by me." "This is ridiculous," Snow White said in exasperation. "Do you really think that a woman your age, no matter how many operations you've had, is going to be able to seduce these brave, principled men?" The 7 little men just laughed in a throaty way. Well, 6 of them anyway. The one who asked about the marinade excused himself and retreated into the garden, peeking through the calla lilies. "Don't listen to that ice princess, boys," said the Queen, unbuttoning her top button. "That's what years of abstinence-only education will get you." "I'd rather be an ice princess than a cougar queen. You're embarrassing. Look at yourself. Trying to force your Hollywood values on the rest of the country. We won't stand for it." The Queen let out a husky laugh. "Oh, I bet these Minutemen will stand for a lot," she said. "And it will last a lot longer than a minute." The 6 men all blushed but didn't turn down the compliment. "And when we're done, you can tell me about how you designed your barbecue pit. I bet it will be just fascinating. But first, what do you swingers think about some eminent domain?" The men all raised their eyebrows and let out lusty chuckles. The 7th little man in the garden said loudly, "Sorry, gents, that's a legal term. It does not involve leather." But they ignored him as the Queen let her hair out of the bun and let it hang down over her shoulders. She pouted and asked in a little girl voice, "Can any of you big strong men help me get my widow car going? I think the engine got too hot." Rushing out to look over the Queen's vehicle, the 6 little studs fell over each other like puppies. "Don't you think they'll be suspicious when you see you're driving an electric?" "Child," scoffed the Queen, "you know nothing about men. They'll stare at it for 30 minutes or an hour before one will admit that he doesn't know what he's looking at. Then it will take another 30 minutes for them all to admit the same thing, and by then everything you have will be mine." Suddenly, from over the ridge, a majestic white charger appeared in the glorious sunshine. Atop the charger rode a handsome blonde prince, dressed completely in white, all the way up to his spotless cowboy hat. For no apparent reason, the horse reared on its hind legs and cut a heroic image. The Queen sighed and rolled her eyes. Cheap movie imagery, right on cue. The handsome man and his even handsomer horse rode up to the two, and the man dismounted. "Excuse me, ladies, I heard tell there was some land grabbing going on round these parts. That just don't sit right with me at all," he smiled, showing his perfect pearly white teeth. "No, sirree." "Hey, hop along," said the Queen. "This doesn't concern you." Wherever there's injustice, I'm obliged to intercede, said the man. The Queen closed her eyes and pinched the bridge of her nose. What other ridiculous wrinkle could appear in her plan? As usual, in times of uncertainty, she turned to her trusty magic mirror to bolster her self-esteem. Since the mirror was too heavy to carry around, she'd had that app installed on her smartphone, which she now pulled out of her purse. She fired up the app and said, "Mirror, mirror, please relate the many ways in which I am great." From her phone speaker came the reply, "You're righteous, pretty, wise, discreet, the very essence of elite." The Queen asked, "Mirror, mirror, do you see a more sympathetic ruler than me?" The mirror app swooned. "O Queen, thou truly art possesseth of an outsized heart." Queen, "Mirror, mirror, speaking freely, I love it when you're touchy-feely." App, "No more than I do, my dear. This ain't just pabulum for your ear." Queen, "Mirror, mirror, must I listen to notions that would thwart my mission?" App, "No, my liege, you know what's best for all your subjects, east and west." Queen, "I do know best, don't I, mirror? My higher status could not be clearer." App, "Just heed me, Queen, and you'll know the joys of Narcissus and Echo." Queen, "Ha ha, you know I get that reference in my snobbish ivy-educated preference." And on it went. The Queen and her sycophantic mirror locked in a disgusting liberal love fest. It went on so long that the Queen just wandered off, utterly absorbed in her self-important fantasies, leaving Snow White and the cowboy prince standing there. And the Queen was never heard from again. The cowboy prince lifted Snow White up onto his mighty steed and rode off towards the castle that the Queen had abandoned. As they entered the castle walls, they were hailed as heroes of free enterprise who would undo all the damage that the Queen's policies had inflicted. By cutting taxes, pushing courtiers and spongers back into the workforce, and shrinking their monarchical power to the point where it had no impact on the well-being of anyone at all, they made everyone else's lives very happy. And the dwarfs, with their newfound interest in engines, began organising and promoting drag races at their newly opened motor speedway in the forest, all except one dwarf, who opened a piano show bar nearby called Dragsters. It enjoyed a regular, though furtive, clientele, and she enjoyed the confusion that many racing fans felt when they visited for the first time. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and press the wee bell notification. And a huge big thank you to all my subscribers, patrons and members. See you next week. Bye bye.